Hello, my name is Rod Scott and I am the CEO of Selectronic Australia. I've been working here for about 12 years now as a full-time position. Earlier on, of course, I was involved as a teenager in the business, in the production as a kid, and then I gained my IT degree. People were surprised at that because everyone assumed I was going to be an electronic engineer, but I wasn't. And in fact, I went off and just did my own thing for many years, starting up various IT companies, and then basically as around 2002 I was more involved in the business again. It was my parents, Brian and Lois Scott, who started the business in 1964 in very humble beginnings in the back of the bungalow that was actually in the family home. So Cinematography Australia manufactures battery-based inverters. They are used in the renewable industry, so they can work with typically solar PV, but also can work with wind and with hydro, as well as in an off-grid situation they will interact with a generator, and on-grid they are grid connected and interact with the grid. One of the keys to Selectronic's success over the years, and particularly recently, has been its partnerships with international companies. Those partnerships are not just from a technology point of view, but they're key in terms of penetrating overseas markets, which we have been getting into more and more as this whole market here in Australia and around the world for energy storage is really growing quite fast. Australia really does lead the world when it comes to energy storage and renewables, and this is probably out of necessity because we're such a sparse nation that we've needed to have off-grid systems for many years. Australia is also very unique in the way that we can actually have a test bed for those products, because we know if it works here in Australia, it's going to work in the cold and the heat, in the humidity, etc. Currently we have around about 1.8 million homes in Australia that would have solar on them, and there's a growing number of those that are now putting storage on with that solar. So the sales of PV and renewables has been up and down as government incentives come and go, but as the industry has matured, there's more independence of the actual industry to be able to stand on its own 2 feet and not rely so much. So it's really driven by people's desire to be independent of the grid and to be able to have control of their own power and to reduce their bills. So our goal is to deliver Australian products, innovative products in the renewable industry to the world.